Hello, my quilty friends. It's Stacy of Stacy Creates Stuff, and we're on week 8 of patching the hole in the barn door. This week we have a little bit of magic, a little bit of applique that you can do by machine, so have no fear, but of course you could do it by hand as well. So let's find out about block number 8. This week's poem goes, "Big tears down their cheeks did run, they laughed so hard at that man. Finally they composed themselves, fanning with grandmother's fan." That's right, this week's block, the grandmother's fan. It's a fun block to do, and as I said, it has a little bit of magic and a little bit of applique. I did all of my applique by machine, and I'm going to walk you through the entire process. If you've been following along, you will need template B from the Drunkard's Path block a few weeks ago. So dig that out or reprint if you need to. All right, let's get started. The fabrics I have chosen for this block is a whole array of bright colors. Well, all the fabrics in my quilt are bright colors, but these are the ones I'm going to use for the grandmother's fan. So these will be for the fan blades, and this is going to be for that little corner piece that goes in the bottom. So I'm going to set this aside for a moment and start with cutting my 2-inch by 6-inch rectangles. For that green corner piece, we're going to need to use template B, which we used on the Drunkard's Path a few weeks ago. Here I have my template, and I am just going to place it on the corner, and using my chalk pen, draw right along that curve. And then just using my scissors, I'm going to cut that out. Of course, if you have Drunkard's Path templates, rotary cutting templates, you can certainly use those. You will also need a 7-inch square of background fabric. And this is the fabric that is going to match the frame, the background that's in the frame part of the finish block. We'll be trimming this down further to be the 6.5 inch. But because we're going to be appliquing on it, we want to give ourselves a little bit of leadway in case there's sort of shrinkage in when we applique the block. All right, all my pieces are cut and ready. I'm going to take each of the fan pieces, fold them in half. I don't need to press it. I just need to fold it in half and sew right along this edge. I'm going to do that for all of them. Much like last week's block where a little magic happened, that's going to happen here too. Okay, here are all of my little pieces. And before I turn them out, and you can see I've just sewn right along the one short edge, just the one. And I am going to, on that folded area, but not cutting the thread, I'm just going to give a little clip to that corner. And then turn that right side out. And you can use a point turner to really get in there and give it a sharp point. And then you're going to want to press, making sure that that seam is down the center and not off kilter like that, because that will make for a very wacky fan blade. So I'm going to do that to all of these, then go over and press them. I'm also, as I'm turning it out, kind of finger pressing that seam open. That'll help make it lie flat as well. All right, let me take these over and press them. I'll be right back. All right, I am back with all of my points pressed. So that's a really super easy way to get those nice points without having to fold them under. All right, now we're going to take, this is the order that I want my little fan blades to go into. So I am going to place these two right on top of each other. And then I am going to draw a line 1/4 inch in from this point here, the very edge where it's folded. So 1/4 inch in from that to the center. So let me first find the center. This was a 2-inch wide piece. So I'm going to mark where the center is. I apologize that it's hard to see on this particular piece, but I'll show you again on the others. So 1/4 inch in, going right down to that point. I'm going to sew along that line. Be right back. Here are the pieces sewn, and you can see as I open them up, they're starting to create this fan shape, and you'll see that even more as we go. I can go ahead and trim this excess fabric. You could use your rotary cutter to do this. All right, now I'm going to take the next piece and do the same thing. So I am aligning my orange piece right up there. I already know where the center is because it's the center from before. And now I'm going to go 1/4 inch in, right to the center, which is there. Draw my line, go and sew, and I'm going to repeat until I have all the blades sewn together. And by the way, if you're not coming quite down to, they're all not meeting at exactly the same point, it's okay. I aim for pretty close. All right, there are the fan blades, and I'm going to go ahead and press those. Be right back. Now for my little corner piece, I'm going to need to fold under about 1/4 inch of this curved edge and press. We won't be using this template again for this series, so I could go ahead and trim along the finished edge of this template and then use that template to press my seam up through. Making sure I have my paper cutting scissors. And should I ever need this template again, well, I can print it out again from my cardstock. So now that I have trimmed that off, I'm going to place it on my fabric and press so that the fabric comes over into the seam allowance. And if you need to, you can make a few little snips. Be careful not to go past the fold line, just to make that curve lay a little bit neater. And then when I press that, it'll lay nice and flat. Now it's time to assemble all of our pieces. So I'm going to take and arrange my little fan such that the folded edge, the very corner of that, aligns with one side as it does here. But it could actually be kind of scooting all over the place. We want to also make sure that the center blade comes to the corner. It might go past the corner a little bit, and that is fine. It might not quite reach the corner, but we kind of want the center line of this to be on that center diagonal of the background. So once I have that in place, I can put a little clips or I can pin. I'm going to pin. And I want to pin in away from the edge here. And you see when I flip it over, then I have this excess that I'm going to go ahead and trim off. You can applique it first and then trim it off. That might make you feel a little bit better. I think that's going to make me feel a little bit better, but at least I have it pinned in place. Once I trim that off, then it'll be easier to see where my little fan goes. So it looks odd right now because I have that extra bit. Let me go ahead and sew this down. I'm just going to go ahead and do a little stitch, about 1/8 of an inch in from the edge of all the little points. I might even use a decorative stitch. Let's see. All right, I didn't go with a decorative stitch. I just did a straight stitch right along all those points. Now I can flip it over and trim off the excess. And remember, our background square is larger than what we need it to be in the end. And now I'm just going to place my little green piece right down here. And I'm going to go ahead and pin that in place as well. Before I pin down here, if you want to cut away some of this excess fabric, you certainly can, because now you have a better idea of about where it is. So make sure you're not, you could trim away the background as well, but I'm not going to. It's a little less bulky that way. There we go. It's perfectly fine to leave all those little points. It is a lot of fabric though, because a lot of seams are coming all together. I pressed all my seams just in one direction. All right, I'm going to do the same thing, just a little straight stitch right along that edge. Then I'll come back. All right, here is my sewn block. I just did the little straight stitch right along the curve. You could also, within that 1/4 inch seam allowance, baste the edges. I see I have a tiny little bit of a ripple. That's going to be just eaten up by the seam. Now we are ready to trim the background. This corner down here with the fan is the point of origin. So we want to make sure that we are 6.5 inches out from that direction. All right, there is our finished center block. I'm just going to assemble the block with all of its other pieces. And here is the finished block. It's such a fun one to do and great with scraps of fabric. So I have used 6 different fabrics, plus the fabric I used for the frame to make the entire fan. You could, of course, do every other fan blade a color. and just use 2 colors. You could even do all the fan blades in the same fabric, and with certain prints, they will be distinct. You could machine applique with a fancy stitch on your machine. I opted for just the straight stitch. It's a great opportunity to play around with different stitches on your machine, or you could hand applique or hand embroider decorative stitches on top of your applique as well. If you would like the instructions for this block, plus all the other blocks that we have done so far and the ones coming up of this 12-week series, the link in the description below will get you to sign up on my email list, and that's how I deliver the instructions to you. They come out every Wednesday morning, and then on Wednesday evenings, I premiere the video for that week's block. If you sign up for the blocks before May 1st, you will get caught up and then get the subsequent blocks as they come out. After May 1st, 2024, then it will be on a 1 week at a time series again. But all of the videos will be available on my YouTube channel, forever. So that's it this week, my quilty friends. Until next time, I'm Stacy of Stacy Creates Stuff. Bye.